Hello, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. So today's video is going to be a book review, and the book I'm reviewing is The Woman in the White Kimono by Anna Johns. So I'm going to go ahead and read out my brief summary of The Woman in the White Kimono. Naoko Nakamura must choose a secure, honorable life with her family's choice of a husband, or the American soldier she has fallen in love with. When she learns she is pregnant, it makes the choice that much harder. Tori Kovac has always loved her father's imaginative tales, but as his dying wish is for her to read a shocking letter, it turns out the tales are much more than just fiction. So this one was my book club read for the month of August, and this one actually got added to my TBR after my August and July wrap up and August TBR video, because I realized I'd forgotten to add my book club choice. And so I'm part of a book club with some friends and things. Every month we have 2 books that we get to pick from, and this is the book that I ended up choosing out of the 2. So The Woman in the White Kimono. So I didn't really know much about this. I hadn't really heard about this anywhere else. I thought this was just sounded like a very interesting choice for the book club, and so I thought I would give it a read. And I learned that this was a debut novel, I believe, of Anna Johns, and I think that is just kind of incredible considering how good this book is. So suffice to say, I absolutely love this book. I was very much enraptured. I read this in like 2 days tops. I started reading it pretty much as soon as I was done another book, and then I couldn't put it down almost. It was just really, really good. I really, really loved how well Anna did on going back and forth between the 2 points of view, because we have the one point of view is Naoko, who is essentially providing her point of view from the 1950s, and then we switch to Tori, who is providing her point of view, and it just says present day, so we don't quite know when present day is, but it's clearly beyond the 1950s. So, but it switches back and forth very seamlessly, I found, between the 2 women. I mean, sometimes we were getting, of course, information from one woman that would help us kind of put in pieces of the other, and you were kind of getting them back and forth. But I thought it was done in such a wonderful way that you weren't getting too much from one woman, but you weren't getting too much from the other. Like the way that it just fit so nicely together as little puzzle pieces was just incredible. And I mean, throughout the book, you're kind of seeing what's going to happen. You're like, oh, okay, so that's that person, or that's that, and that's that. And clearly, like, it's pretty obvious to tell some of what's going to happen, even just giving the description of the book and the synopsis that you're given. You kind of understand who some of these characters are and on how their tales are intertwined, but how well it is done and how well it is written, you're still very intrigued to find out what's going on with especially Naoko, because she has this horrible choice that she has where she has to try to either honor her family and her family's wishes, and especially in like the 1950s, after, you know, the war that happened between America and the US and Japan, and just kind of what is gone on with how her family views Americans and things like that, and for her to fall in love with American is like a betrayal almost. And it's just really, really intriguing. It's very, very interesting, and it was really well done, I think. It was just very, very beautifully done. And I love too that Anna has a bit in the back of the book where she kind of explains why she wrote this book and some of the backstory to how some of the, even though this is a very fictionalized tale, how she came to write it and how she wove in truth and facts into this. And she even took, she was really inspired by her own father's story. So I just thought that was pretty incredible of having that side of that in this, and then just knowing, I mean, some of what happened, and of course that made it even sometimes that much more heartbreaking what is going on in this story, and some of what's going on. But honestly, just really, really well done, really, really well written. I absolutely loved it. I had a favorite quote, and I think I even, let me open up my journal here and take you to the page that I did in my journal. So here we are. So I had some craft paper that I just thought kind of fit so well. It was something that when I even knew that I had this craft paper and I was reading this story, I was like, oh my god, like fits so well. I mean, we've got the fan that matches the cover, and then like the little flowers and things that match, and then the little bird, because little bird plays such a big part. And I mean, these were some of my favorite characters. We've got Hajime, I apologize if I'm pronouncing anything incorrectly, but Hajime, Naoko, Okasan, and Tori were definitely some people that definitely tugged on my heart. And I just had fun kind of trying to recreate the cover here a little bit on a very small scale, just because I can't do profile pictures justice. It's not as good. I mean, it's not as simple as like some line art that I've done, and I just couldn't get, like, this individual here on this cover is absolutely stunning, and I just could not do her justice in mine. So I was like, let me scale it down so that we can't see how much it doesn't match. But I had some fun creating this journal spread as well, and I loved one of the quotes that was in the story, because there's some great Japanese proverbs that are mentioned and referenced, especially by not only Naoko, who is the 17-year-old Japanese girl that falls in love with the American soldier, but also from like her parents, especially her grandmother. So that is very much throughout this book. And one of the lines that Naoko says is, "In the struggle of stone and water, water eventually wins. Since my family's mind is set like stone, I must persist like water to change it." And I just really loved that. I loved that analogy, and just kind of thinking of what that kind of looked like and the struggle that she was really up against. I think that really helped to paint that picture, that her father was very set like the stone. He was unmoving, unchanging like the stone, and she had to be the water that continued to persist to try to wear him down. So I absolutely loved this. I found this one so very emotional. Just as I said, the background behind it too, the actual real situations and some of the real facts that happened around this time in the 1950s just absolutely breaks my heart, especially right after the war and everything that happened. Just yes, very, very emotional in so many ways. Yeah, and it broke my heart. And I also wrote here that I was left with a lot of questions, but I thought that was really well done too, because while we walked away kind of going like, okay, some of these questions that I have swimming around about it, it's also kind of really highlights how in life we don't always have all the answers. We don't get to walk away with everything all wrapped up in a beautiful bow and know exactly everything that happened, because that just doesn't happen always in life. There's always a little bit of gray in life. There's a little bit of sometimes misunderstandings, or just things that we don't get to uncover everything. And I think really it just highlights too that we have to try to do our best to put all the pieces that we can together to try to get some kind of comfort out of that final picture that we create. So I just found this a really well written book. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad it was my book club book of the month for August, because I'm just really glad I read this, because I'm really interested in the background and some of what happened. I also really loved, like I said, the flowers just really stuck out to me, how much that was throughout this that was throughout this book. And I found this like such a quick read too. Like, it was just really well written. I really did enjoy it. I found it a wonderful read, very well written, and very interesting of a story. So it was really easy to step into this. And while I mean well written, maybe it's not really flowy or a lot of prose, there was a bit of, you know, some analogies going on, and a bit of, you know, some nice language, especially with like the Japanese proverbs used and things like that. But it was also just something where it wasn't too heavy to read. It was really something that was very easy to read and understand. So I really did enjoy it. So this one for me is a 5-star read, and if you have a book club, I encourage you to maybe bring it up for your book club choice of the month. So that's going to be it for me. I'd love to hear from you though. Have you heard of The Woman in the White Kimono? Have you read it? What did you think about it? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear in the comments below. Please go ahead and let me know. And then that's going to be it for me. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourselves, and you will see me next time.